Building an indie business in the center of venture capital. I am Alex Edmonds. People on the internet call me SupremeRumHam, and this is the Building an Indie Business podcast. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about the revenue research workflow. I realize I've never talked about this, so I'm talking about it now. So I've already talked about how I research something, but I haven't talked about what happens after and what I do after the the research and the writing. So let me, talk about that. I think it's a good thing. It's like basically the post-production of revenue research. Yeah, so let's get into it. So the first thing I do actually before even writing is I decide on a topic. And I have a small list of things that I want to write about. Things like salt, things um, like what it costs to run a sports team. So I kind of knock out one of those, or I talk to someone and I get ideas. I talk to Brendan and I'm like, hey, what should I write about next? And we talk about some stuff. He was the one that told me to do TikTok. I talked to Ross too. Ross was the one that he told me to do airlines, and so I interviewed him, and that's how I got the information for airlines. Then I do some SEO research. I just start typing in things that are related to the topic. So for airlines, I'm like, airlines generate revenue, and then I check keywords everywhere, and I see similar things, and if the amount of searches every month is something that I might be able to get to the front page of. So it's like between 200 and 1,000. That's the sweet spot for revenue research right now. So yeah, I typed in like direct listing, and direct listing process came up, and what is a direct listing came up, and I thought that's good enough for me, right? Those numbers are. Then I do my research, interviewing, reading, and then after that, I record the podcast. So I record the podcast, and I record it. I get some ideas while I'm recording, so I use that. Then after I'm done recording, I listen to the episode while I'm writing. So just slowly, I listen to like a minute of it, and then I transcribe it. Then I get new ideas while I'm writing too, so I put those in the episode, or not the episode, the blog posts, right? So I make adjustments while I'm writing. Then there's editing, which I've discussed. Hemingway, Grammarly, listening to everything after I've read it. Or no, yeah, listening to everything after I've wrote it. That's what I meant. Then I do a little SEO work. There's this service I use called Dashwords, and it helps optimize the article for keywords. So I put in the phrase, what is a direct listing? And it looks at everything that's written on that topic on the front page of Google, and it analyzes it, and it helps me change my words to optimize it for the front page. So it'll tell me what's the word count of the average article, and it's always higher for me. I think for direct listings it was like 600 and mine was 900, and I was a little worried that the direct listings article was a little short, so I didn't have that worry after. And then it helps me change change my some of the words in the blog post to um, make it better. So it gives me a grade, and I'll start out with like a B minus, and I just try to get it to an A minus. So for example, I had the word stock exchange on there, and Dashwords told me to change it to New York Stock Exchange to get a better score, right? But I'm looking for an alternative because they're making it like a paid service, and I have 5 more left, and I just don't use Dashwords enough to pay for it, right? Next, okay, so Dashwords lets me export the writing in Markdown, and I use Markdown for promotion on other platforms, so that it looks nicer. Not that it looks nicer, but it what's the words I'm looking for? Oh yeah, it just so certain platforms use Markdown, and usually I have to like edit the blog post to fit Markdown. So instead of like doing the H2 tags, I have to do 3 hashtags, and then I have to do all the parentheses stuff. So just by exporting it, I don't have to actually, do anything. And I use Markdown for indie hackers and Reddit, right? Okay, so then I create the HTML page for the revenue research website. So the first thing I do is I copy an old page, right? So I copy like the movie theater blog post, and then I just go down the page and I change everything that I need to change for the direct listings blog post. I change the meta tags, I change the structured data, I add the writing with HTML tags already done. So like any H3 title already has an H3 because I've done it before this. Then I edit the social sharing buttons on the left side of the page. I'm not sure if these have ever been used, but I'm going to keep them there for the future when I have 10,000 people subscribe to my stuff, and they probably actually use that stuff, right? And then I have an RSS feed for revenue research, and I use that for Google News, and I make sure that I put the new blog post on the RSS feed so it shows up on Google News and people click on it and read it from Google News. I don't know if anyone has actually clicked on it from Google News, but it's there, right? And then finally I do the archive, just like the list of previous blog posts for anyone new coming to the website and wants to see the topics that I've written about. Okay, then I use Email Octopus for what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, for the newsletter, for the revenue research newsletter. So just like everything else, the first thing I do is I copy a previous email. Then I change up the HTML. So like an H3 tag, I copy that and I put it where it needs to be for the new email. And this is because like on Email Octopus, there's a certain style that the H3 tag has on for my emails, and I just don't know what it is, so I just copy and paste it, things like that. Okay, and then I schedule it for the previous Thursday or the next Thursday, whatever Thursday that is. I try to aim for the first Thursday of the month within the first 7 days of the first Thursday of the month. So if the first Thursday of the month is the first, I aim for like the next Thursday, right? Yes, that is very much so what I do. Okay. And then I index the web page on Google Search Console. And the reason I do this is for SEO purposes, so that the article, blog post, whatever I call it, will rank faster on Google, and that way it'll show up in the search results faster. Yes, sir. Yes, it will. And then the last thing I do for revenue research, last thing I have listed here is, oh, no, I have two things left. Okay. So the final thing I do is I edit the podcast for the revenue research podcast feed. I change the BIB intro to the revenue research intro, and I don't wait to make the podcast available. Or like I don't schedule the podcast episode. I just make it available immediately. I don't know why I do this, but that's what I do. And then that's the revenue research workflow. And then I used to make a GIF, like for 3 or 4 of the blog posts. I made an Always Sunny GIF, like related to the content. But I stopped doing this because I didn't really see any ROI in doing this. But yeah, that's the podcast workflow, not the revenue research workflow. Yeah, this is always changing and expanding. This is what it is as of June 2020, not 2021. Jesus Christ, Alex. Yeah, but it'll change, and when it does change, of course I'll talk about it. So yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.